The Apollo 3500 GT is a sports car with southern flair. Its lines were inspired by the iconic cars of its age, such as the Jaguar E type, and, in particular, the stunningly beautiful Ferraris designed by Pininfarina. This enthusiast says the Apollo is a kind of American Ferrari and very rare. The Apollo 3500 GT was intended to provide an alternative to European sports cars, which were often very costly to maintain. This American Ferrari was also powered by an American engine, a V8. Its 3.5 liters of cubic capacity produced a sporty sound and more than enough propulsion for the lightweight Apollo, which weighed just 1,000 kilos. In fourth gear, the 200 horsepower GT could hit a top speed of 210 kilometers an hour, a pretty respectable pace back in the early 1960s. Andreas Graf says the goal was to create America's answer to the Ferrari using American technology and an Italian body. For the engine, they chose a newly developed V8 from GM's Buick Motor Division. The 3.5 liter all-aluminum engine was very light, perfect for a sports car. In spite of its mass-produced American technology, the Apollo can go like the wind. The engine sits far behind the front axle and ensures even weight distribution. No front-heavy American cruiser. The Apollo is an agile and speedy Gran Turismo that's fun to drive. The Apollo's contours are inspired by Italian design, though it's anything but a Ferrari ripoff. Its design is unique, even though it does adopt many details used in Ferrari models in the 1960s. But that's little wonder. Andreas Graf explains that the body was made in Italy and the designer was Italian. Franco Scaglione had worked for Ferrari and Bertone before. The car bodies were shipped to the US, but the costs got way out of hand. So just 70-odd Apollos were produced over the course of 6 years. 40 are thought to still be in existence today. Andreas Graf spent years looking for his Apollo. During this time, he became somewhat of a specialist on the sports car, and now advises Apollo fans and owners around the globe. Graf says the car's technology is affordable. He says all the parts are available as long as you know what car they came from. He says that the tough but special thing is the body, which was handmade at Intermechanica. The first two cars were made of aluminum, but then they realized that cost too much. After that, the cars were made from steel with aluminum hoods, trunk lids, and doors. He says it's an American Ferrari and very rare. With the help of experts and 5 years of hard work, Graf completely rebuilt his Apollo. He now owns a second Apollo, a 5000 GT with a larger engine that was installed later. It's another restoration project. Finding the right internal parts hasn't been a problem, but replacing missing or damaged parts of the bodywork is far from easy. Handiwork and improvisation are the order of the day. Graf says that in such a case you must make everything yourself. He needed a rocker panel, and they're very prone to rust in these cars, so he had to produce one from scratch himself. At the front here, he had to install a part too, which he made himself because no replacements exist. Like the Ferraris of its day, the Apollo's body was completely handmade. The traces of this are still visible in the sheet metal today. Graf says you can still see the hammer blows on the bodywork, and that even when you're restoring it, you can't be too exacting. You can really see the difference compared with factory-produced or machine-made bodies. But he says that's how things were at the time. At one point, you could even see how the parts were put together, a thing of the past.
Zusammengesetzt wurden, das hat man halt heute nicht mehr in der Art und Weise.
In the end, the Apollo proved too costly to make, and production ended in 1968. But Andreas Graf still enjoys taking his out for a spin. Although the Apollo isn't yet a high-priced collector's item, prices for these rare models have risen considerably in recent years.